Hello everyone. So I'm going to do a video on this roof, and it's not the video that I was hoping it was going to be. I got asked by a guy that I do some work for on and off if I could come and have a look at this job. Unfortunately, he said to me the job wasn't going particularly well because there'd been a problem with the roof, and there's a nice young couple that are trying to have some work done, and they're really sort of starting to feel the impact of sort of catalogue of things going wrong that has ended up them not been able to get on really, and the main part of their extension has been open for quite a few months now. So, as I said, he showed me the plans, and I thought this would be a great job to come and video. I even bought another video camera because I was going to set one up to do a full job time lapse. But I've kind of got here, and the reality of what's going on in the job has kind of dawned on me, and I haven't been able to video it. Now, what's basically happened is this roof you can see behind me, I've done most of it now. It's already been on once, and the customer here, or the couple here, they're doing quite a lot of extensive work and extension work, and they're project managing the job themselves. Now what they've done is they got hold of the truss manufacturer to come out and survey the roof. Now this truss manufacturer, I'm not going to name them, but I've had problems with their trusses before, and their surveying and their customer services. But anyway, that's by the by. They came out, they surveyed the roof, and of course they sent the drawings down to the customer here. And him, obviously, although he's running the job, he's not an experienced builder. He kind of signed them not really knowing what he was signing. Anyway, so that was mistake number one. Then a roofer turned up, not a carpenter, a roofer, but obviously probably knew a little bit about carpentry. What they then did is they cracked on and put this roof on, and I don't know if you can just see here, and certainly here in the UK, a lot of times when we have extension work, the planners like any new roof to be subservient to the main roof. Subservient obviously means to be lower. Now on the plans it shows this the new roof lower than the ridge of the original roof. But what happened is the guys that came to start fitting the trusses, they started to put the trusses up, and it was obvious straight away that the trusses were much higher, I think probably about 300 mil higher than the original ridge. So that was kind of mistake number two, and rather than sort of having a look at the plan, or thinking this doesn't look right, I mean, even if they didn't see the plan, I know through years of experience that generally an extension roof will be at best it will be level with the original ridge, but it certainly won't be higher. So they should really have stopped. What they did is they cracked on and got pretty much the whole roof fitted. They didn't get it cut into the new roof, so the valleys weren't put in, and the lay boards and the valleys formed. And then all of a sudden I think the customer realised that it was sort of going in the wrong direction. So unfortunately what they had to do, because he didn't really want to take the risk of carrying on, because it only takes somebody, this is a residential area, it only takes somebody, as you know, to report it to the local authority, and all of a sudden when the whole job's done and finished, they'll put an enforcement notice on you and make you take it all down. So he then took the roof off, went back to the truss manufacturers, and they were a bit mealy-mouthed. They weren't really that inclined to help, so they made some new trusses, and they got them in the right height this time, and the customer had to unpick all of the rafter material and reuse all that. So basically I've come to this job, and it's a bit of a disaster. The plates had already been bedded on and fixed down, and really I would have liked to have taken them all off, half-lapped them properly, but I do like to show work on my channel that is, not the best work I do, but the reality of it is, this is part of my job as well. Sometimes jobs go wrong, sometimes you've got to try and help people out, and sometimes it's not as perfect as you like. So I've got these trusses on, and I've worked out, again, this is it's an irregular pitched hipped end, so it's got one pitch down the main run of the roof and another pitch on the hipped end. So basically these are in effect bastard hips on a bastard angle. So I was really looking forward to really going into a lot of detail on how I set these out, but I just wasn't really able to. There's been a problem with the way the trusses have been manufactured, as usual for this company, are quite poor. And as you know, it's sort of everything's got to be relatively right when you're fitting an equal ended hip, you know, so your hips basically strike at 45 degrees. But what happens with trusses is, if they're manufactured out slightly, you know, 10 mil at one point can mean 20 mil at another when you start introducing angles and different angles. And so I've had to kind of work with what I've got the best I can. I've done a good job and I'm happy, but I just thought I'd show you a few little details, and there's some things that you're going to see when I'm panning the camera around. You're going to be shouting at the screen saying, oh my God, it's absolutely terrible. Some of the plates weren't bedded on level, but the customer really just was sort of at their wit's end, and they haven't got a bottomless pit of money and they just wanted the roof putting on. The thing that's sort of surprised me the most and is really, really disappointing is the fact that the building control officer, the local authority building control officer, has actually come and signed this roof off. And it wasn't even fitted, where are we? It wasn't even fitted into the original roof, so I'm not quite sure how he could say the roof structure was complete. So that's actually the most sort of frightening thing, is that I don't think it would have ever collapsed, and you know, these building control officers, they want to cover their back, but he shouldn't really been signed off because the roof wasn't finished. So I'll turn the camera around and show you a few bits and bobs, and hopefully you'll get an idea. I've hopefully got a couple little bits of advice when it comes to setting out bastard hips, or you know, unequal pitched hip ends. There's lots of things to think about, and it all depends what the finished details are. So I'll get this turned around. Sorry it's a bit windy, and I'll start to talk you through some of the details. Right, so straight away, as I said, you know, I would like to show this job, you know, nice and perfect and everything half flat, but ultimately this is how I got it, and it is a bit shocking really that someone's sort of happy to leave roof plate like that, but the customer and the builder who sort of got me in on this job just didn't want to redo all these plates, which I understand. You know, there's some sort of skullduggery gone on here where they've sort of planed the plate over this lintel. So but anyway, I've cracked on the best I can, and as I say, I'm quite happy with how I've got on. But things to think about when it comes to sort of unequal pitched hips like this, or you know, these are bastard hips. You've got one pitch here which is quite a slight pitch, and you've got a slightly steeper pitch here. So obviously these hips don't run at 45 degrees. Now a lot of people, it's very easy to get confused when cutting in hips, because we always tend to gravitate towards the corner of the building when we're cutting hips, but that's fine. But what will happen is, if you do use that as your striking point, what you tend to find is that you'll have the actual external part of the fascia and soffit will be miles off the corner of the building. So basically you can't have it always with when you're doing a job like this. Generally what I do is I strike my hip points from the point where the soffit and fascia are equal. So I've got equal width soffit down both sides, and obviously I want the fascia to be the same height as well. So that then becomes the striking point for your hip. What that basically means is the hip is obviously not going to pass through the corner of the building. It's always offset. So again, there's loads of other variables. You can, if you do pass it through the corner of here, you can end up with fascias that are bigger on one side than the other, or a soffit that's narrow down one side and really wide down the other. Again, it depends kind of what the customer wants, but generally I set mine out so that the soffit and fascias run around the same. So what the sort of a couple of things just to show you, people have said to me before, you know, when you do like a bastard hip like this, are the jack cuts still at 45 degrees? And the answer is no, they're not. And this is quite a good example, this roof, because it's significantly different pitches, so it sort of exaggerates the issue. And if you can just see here, look, so I've got, this is the bevel cut. Obviously the plumb cut is on one pitch for the end, and the plumb cut's on a different pitch for the main run. And then obviously the bevel cuts, look, you can clearly see you've got quite a shallow bevel cut on the steeper pitch, and you've got a very sharp one on the shallow pitch. So that is a real sort of illustration there of the fact that they aren't 45 degrees. And even if this hip, as I said, went down into the corner of the building, it still would be 45 degrees. So how do I find where this hip intersects through this end plate? So for me, it's fairly simple. Again, I perhaps should have explained how I ended up, sighting these rafters, or how high these rafters are to be above the plate. But that is all part of the planning and deciding how wide the fascia and the soffit want to be on each side, which I've already done. So perhaps I can explain that in another video if I come to do another one. But the reality of it is, what I'm trying to show you here is, and if I just grab my tape, is that it's all about, as usual, it's all about the height above plate. So that's what we're looking at here, because we want the height above plate to run the same all the way round. So what I've done here, as you can see here, this is the plate of the hipped end, and I've got a plumb mark there, and I've measured up, and that plumb mark is 205 millimeters. Now, what basically, where these two roofs meet together, they've got to meet at the same point. So I've got 205 millimeters here. Have I got that yet? So I've got 205 millimeters here. Now that isn't, you can see that 205 millimeters is on this plate, but it's not on this one. So what I've got to do is find the point that this roof has 205 millimeters above the plate. So what I've done here, if I go to this truss, you'll see here that what I've actually done is measured up 205 millimeters. Can you see that yet? So if I measure there, look, I've gone up 205 mil there. It's actually slightly lower because this truss is slightly higher. So that's 205 millimeters there. And then what I do from that measurement, I hope I can see this, is measure back. And again, I've had to I've had to mark the outside of the plate here, because obviously we've got this lintel here. So then what I do is measure back from that point. Now can you see there? That's 210 mil. So that height above plate, which was for that run of the roof, is 205 mil there. Oh, sorry, it's 205 mil there, and then back to the outside of the plate there is 210. Now simply what I do is come to the plate this end, again, please just blank this out of your mind. I then measure back that 210, look, to this line here. So I'm just trying to hold it while the wind's blowing. I measure back that 210 mil to that line there, you see, and then that is squared back. And what that does is then when it meets the line of the hip here, that is then, look, 205 mil up there. So basically what we know is, I know it seems really complex, and I don't know if I'm doing a good job of explaining it, but basically where the plane of this roof joins the plane of this roof at this corner point, they both meet. So we know that then when we go up to the center point of where's my finger? When we go up to the center point of the main roof and the end roof, we know that that hip is at the point where they both intersect. Yeah, you'll notice that this hip, obviously this is I've reused this. This has been already cut. I didn't see what the guys must have done before, but it was a bit of a mess. So that hip, these are over 5 metre long, these hips, so we had to reuse them. There's no other of this 8x2 timber here. So what I'm going to have to try and do is stitch a bit on the end there just to get this this hip out so it catches up the corner. I don't think I'm going to do any fancy scarf joint in there. I think I'll probably just maybe mitre it and then put a piece of timber down the side, because as I said, we're just trying to make use of what we've got here. I'm happy with it all. It's going to be structurally sound, and it's going to look great when it's all tiled in. Someone else is going to come and do the soffit and fascia. They've got someone lined up for that, so I should just cut all the rafter feet off. But yeah, it's again with these hips, as I said, I don't know if I've said once already, but when it comes to sort of offset hips like this, or bastard hips, or unequal pitched hipped ends, as the great Yoda once said, unlearn what you have learned you must. And that really is the thing that can catch you out when you have a lifetime, or if you do mostly hips on equal pitch roofs. Obviously everything works off of 45 degrees, and that can really, you always tend to naturally go for the corner of the roof, but you will get yourself into trouble there, because you'll end up with all kinds of shenanigans with the soffits. So once I've got this basic section of roof all done, I'm happy that everything's where it should be. I've got some braces and stuff to put on. The only other outstanding issue on this roof is obviously connecting this new roof into the original roof. I'm going to get someone to give me a hand here because it's a lot of work on my own and it's a little bit dangerous. This obviously all needs stripping back, and then I can put my ridge board through, put some lay boards down, and then just fill that in with jack rafters, and then that's ready for the roofer. So what I'm hoping to do is maybe get maybe clamp on one of these scaffold poles here and maybe get a little bit of a time lapse of me doing that. Might be interesting. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do here, just because this is just, it sort of hurts my eyes looking at it, what I think I'm going to do is maybe make up an extra sort of gusset there, or put some additional strapping on, because obviously this is just, anyway, that should really be half lap there, and I think, I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, it's just the same here. I'll just probably put an extra piece of timber across there, or gusset or something. I need to put something in the corner here to catch the plasterboard, so just try and sort of belt and braces, and just, I know it should have been half lap, but it is what it is. Like I said before, we've got to just work with what I've got. So yeah, you see, I'll just put a little piece of timber across there that's actually wider than the plate, so it will catch the plasterboard up underneath there. I may stick another noggin through there as well, and obviously just gang nailed it down into this plate and gang nailed it down into this plate, and I've actually put a nail into the side of the hip as well, so it's not ideal, but it's bound that corner together better now. So you can see one of the issues I had with the trusses, and hopefully you'll be able to see it here. You've got this sort of girder truss here, this flat top girder truss. Behind that you've got 1, 2, 3, you've got 5 common trusses. Now, what dictates the centre of those trusses is obviously the ridge point. Now, this is, I think various people call it different things. I call it the end common or the king common, whatever. This is one of those little mono trusses. Now, these mono trusses, again, you can't do anything with these in terms of altering them. They're set at the factory. So the ceiling cord of this mono has to run in flush with the ceiling cord of the main truss, and obviously then the pitch that this rafter has been put in at is dictated, and it should, all things being equal, it should meet with the ridge of the main roof, which this one does, as you can see. But then I couldn't get my finger on what's happened, but you can clearly see it starts to make you doubt yourself already. Excuse the wind. You can see that the center element to this girder is not actually in the center of the actual roof. And of course, as a carpenter, you're all the time thinking, you're always checking yourself, and things like that. Sometimes you think, well, that's a bit of a red flag. That's not right. I've done something wrong. But it isn't. This girder truss should technically be made exactly the same and on the same sort of jig as the main trusses. So as you can see here, this is that double girder. You can see you've got the top. Where are we? Oh yeah, top rafter cord. Look, is preset, and it runs in the same line as the main roof. What it should do anyway. This one drops down about 15 mil at the top there. I don't know if you can we just see that? You can maybe, I can see it with my eye, but you can just see, if you wind that through, you can just see that it's, anyway, you might better see it. But so we've got a bit of an issue there, and for some reason something's adrift here. This whole sort of centre section of this girder section, from this upright, and then you've got these diagonal elements, the centre to the other upright. It's all just, it's too far to the right hand side. It needs to be further over the left. And I don't know why it's caused such a problem, but what I basically did is, you can see the hips run nicer on the front hip than they do on the back. There's nothing I could do about this. I scratched my head as much as I could. Even if that hip wasn't in, when this mono truss is here, the ceiling cord of the mono is flush with the ceiling cord of the main truss. Even if that hip wasn't there, those 2 points would not meet right. So there's something either hasn't been put in the jig properly, but I toiled and there's nothing I could do. So I've had to let that one go. It's not the end of the world. And as you can see, I put a chalk line. As I brought it back down to the eaves, obviously I've brought it back. What I may well do is just run my planer up there, just because obviously I don't want it to kick the battens up. And as you can see, I think you can just see I've got quite a nice plane through. If you can see the main plane of the roof, I've got quite a nice plane through there. So I don't really know what went wrong there, whether it was these monos or what it was. But as I said earlier, the trouble is with this kind of roofing is, you know, you get something that's 10 mil out sort of at one point, and by the time you introduce angles and pitches, all of a sudden it's 20 mil out, and it can only be a small amount out. And I've said this in one of my previous videos, you know, when you're cutting in a hip on a standard 45 degree hip, the hip only has to be 3 or 4 mil too long, and it looks like it stands up miles at the top. So you know, you only take a couple of mil off its length, and that can really make a big difference to how much it either sits up or stands down. So yeah, I know I'm waffling on, I know that, but you may find this interesting. You may have all just switched off, but there's a lot to think about with these kind of roofs, and what doesn't help is when you get a truss manufacturer who don't really take as much care as they should over manufacturing their trusses. So another thing I had to contend with here, which just didn't help, look at all the marks that are already on the plate. Look, I mean, it's just mark central. Someone must have worn their pencil out. It's just marks absolutely everywhere. Look, so trying to navigate through those, mark your own lines out, and of course there's just tons of the aftermath of somebody else doing it. So, you know, it's a wonder that I haven't made any mistakes of my own. You've got to laugh. It's one of those things, you know, you can get all precious about it and think, oh, you know, I don't want to do it and I'm going home, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. I'm getting paid, and you do get the satisfaction of sort of turning a job that's sort of into a nosedive, you know, putting it back on track. So still satisfaction to be had out of doing this job. So I've worked out how I'm going to extend this hip rafter down. What I'm actually going to do is I've cut up 5.5 inches from the block work, which will allow this 5x2 to go under, and I'm just going to screw it down through the top. It's not taking much weight, it's literally taking about 4 inches of the end of the roof, and then obviously the soffit and fascia. Got these super duper, had a couple of these left over, super long, I think they're forge fast screws, really great for this. So I'll screw it down through the top of that, and that should be more than man enough. I've just pre-drilled them first. I know these are self-drilling, but they can tend to wander off a little bit, so pre-drilling it first with a 6mm spade bit just means it's going to keep going nice and straight, because it's quite long. I don't want it to sort of find its way out the side. So let's get that on, get that screwed up. Going to make the screwdriver work. Let's put that in here. Something like that, I reckon. There we go. Hold on tight. Oh, look at that. Right, let's get this big boy in. That might even come out the bottom, look. Woohoo! Lovely. See what, that doesn't like that. That's hard work. Let's up the ante a bit. Oh yes, look at that. Woohoo! Oh, look at that. That's amazing. Oh. Just noticed there that it's got so much torque that not only has it made that go warm, so much torque that when I actually let my finger off the trigger, this head just very slightly span back a little bit. So it just goes to show the amount of torque it takes to drive them in. So that's on there nice and solid now, so I'm well chuffed with that. Yeah, you can see, I know, sorry about that, this is a scrap piece of timber, like I said. Basically now that's coming out long enough that I can that'll catch my fascia. I might have to put a little jack rafter in this end because it's quite big, and I may just need to knock the top of that off to the pitch of the hip, but that's great. Do the same the other end. So it's only a small little bit of explanation there. I can't really I couldn't show me doing it yesterday because it was just too chaotic and there was people everywhere, and all of the timber I've got to use, as you can see, look, it's all sort of second hand. I've got to reuse it all because obviously the price of timber and the customer's already, you know, cost him a lot of money. So I'm using second hand timber. It's full of nail holes and full of screws. So it's just, yesterday I just had to crack on. So I'm happy that if you look down here, I've got a nice plane along the hip end there, and I've got a nice plane along the main run of the roof there as well. So yeah, so don't judge me too harshly. I've had a lot against me here, and I think I'm happy with it now. And what I've got to do is cut the rafters off. I've got to put some more additional bracing in, and then get this roof wrapped up so that the roofer can come in and felt batten it. Obviously, of course, I've got to get someone to strip off the tiles for me there so that I can just infill that last bit as well. So, don't know if I made any sense there, and I just thought it was worth getting the camera out and doing a little bit. So I'll just turn that around. I thought it was worth getting the camera out, and I've probably just waffled on, and there might not be anyone left watching, but I had great hopes for this roof, especially being the type of roof it was, because I know it's, I wouldn't say it's a bit of an enigma, but it's certainly one of those things that I don't do many unequal pitched hip ends that end up with bastard hips, and it's always good to get the juices flowing, and especially when you make a nice job of it. But there we go. There'll be lots more roofing videos coming up because I've got, all I'm doing is roofing now. So hopefully I can get some videos of those. I've got a bungalow roof to do, which is pretty simple, and they've got quite a big roof, lots of hips and hip dormers and stuff like that. So I'll be bringing that as and when I do it. Thanks for watching.